Coach, we're going to take a look at the shuffle cut here. This is a great offense to try to get guys going downhill towards the hoop. If you're trying to get some fouls, get some points in the paint, spread out the defense, this is a great way to use screens to get open. So if you've got a team that doesn't have to be just players who are all kind of the same size, or you've got one player who's a bigger player who's good at screens but isn't really a great offensive player, this is an offense that you want to take a look at. Now we're going to look specifically at the 4-man shuffle cut. There is a 5-man. If you're interested in the 5-man, inside the membership, I explain the 5-man. You can go ahead, go in there, check it out. But here's our 4-man shuffle cut. When I write these numbers down, the biggest thing to recognize here is that they're not really the numbers of your players in their position. They're really, you have to look at it as what they're going to do in this offense. So our 5 is going to be the person who screens. This might be your center, it might not, but the person who plays the 5 in this offense is going to be our screener. Our 1 is our first cutter. Our 2 is going to be our second cutter. So you can kind of see, you want that 1, doesn't necessarily have to be your point guard, has to be somebody who can score, because they're going to be going downhill, going towards the hoop, somebody who's a good slasher and a good finisher. So you may not necessarily want the number 1 on here to be the point guard. We just want him to be the first cutter. All right, so taking a look at it, we're going to get a pass across the top over to the 4, and that's going to initiate the offense. That's going to tell my 5, all right, I've got to get ready to screen. Our 3 on that pass is going to seal and is going to pop, because as soon as the 4 gets it, they're looking to reverse the ball to the 3. Our 5 is looking to set a back screen for our 1 coming downhill. Now the 1 can go, he can set it up low and come high, or he can set it up high and he can end up coming low. Doesn't matter. The goal here is to cut towards the hoop to give the 3 the opportunity to get down to the 1, somewhere in here. After that happens, if we don't have a pass into the 1, our 5 is going to turn, adjust his screen to come down, and our 2 is going to be coming off this, looking for the elbow. Now, if you want your 2 to curl on this, it's important to know that if he doesn't get the ball, he's got to come back up to the elbow. All right, if he comes just to the elbow, he's a good 15-foot shooter, that's where you want him to be, then this will be pretty simple. But if he curls that at all, he might have a chance to score. If he doesn't get the ball, have him come back up to the elbow. So our 3 still has it. We haven't hit either of those options so far. Our 1 posted up for a second, didn't get it, so he's going to pop out. This is important. If your 2 does curl, the 1 has to pop. If the 2 stays up in the high post area, then we could leave our 1 down there. But a lot of times having him pop is going to give a lot more space, because if 2 catches it, wants to drive, we don't want this to be clogged up. Our 5 is in this area. Now, what our 4 does, after the 2 had cut through, our 4 is just going to cut straight down to the block right here. And what you're going to see is you're going to start to see how this is going to be a mirror of what we had on the other side. Our 2 pops out, didn't get the ball. Our 4 has already cut, so that gives us a little bit of space here. And that 2 can pop out really anywhere in this area here. The closer they are to this side means they're probably going to have to use a dribble. If they pop out and are able to get a ball reversal closer to this side, then they may not have to have that dribble as much. So what we've got now is our 5's coming over, and our 3, if they reverses the ball to the 2, that's the cue for our 4 to seal, and it's going to pop out. Catching it that far, we use a dribble, and on this pass, the 5 is setting the back screen for the 3 coming down. So you can see this is just starting over on the other side of the floor. Our 3 ends up going downhill and is at the block. Our 4 is the one who's making the pass now. Our 5 is getting ready to set the down screen, because the 1 has come up, is going to set his man up, and is going to go right here. As the 1 cuts off of the screen, the 2 is going to go ahead and hit the low block here. Our 3 would pop. And what we're left with is the same setup that we had before. Our 5 is going to come over, get ready to screen on this side. Our 1 who had cut to the elbow is going to pop out, and he's going to look for this reversal pass right here. Our 2 is ready to seal and pop, and on that reversal, it all starts over. Our 5 screens for the 4 now, and then sets a screen for the 3. But this shuffle cut coming from the 4 down to the block, that's the one that you get a lot of good stuff on. That's the one that you're going to see some defenses having trouble with, because they got to communicate through that screen. Then they've got to communicate through a down screen to whoever was playing in the corner. If your 5 is any sort of threat at all, turning and looking for the ball real quick isn't a bad option. The biggest thing is have your players know where they need to be. So if they improvise at all, they can get back to the spot where the ball can be reversed. You can seal and pop. You can get it to a wing, and we can have a new shuffle cut with the opposite wing. So, Coach, hopefully this helps you understand the 4-man shuffle cut just a little bit. These are the basics of it. If you're looking for any plays or you want to see the 5-man shuffle cut, head over to CoachMattDennis.com. Join the membership. You'll find tons of resources on offenses like this, as well as many other things that'll help your team just become better, win more games in less time. Thanks, Coach.